Konnichiwa, greetings, hello, and welcome to lesson 3 of this Japanese beginner's conversation mini course. Hopefully you've been really enjoying it, and I can't wait to go over the exciting lesson that we have planned for you today. So it's going to be really awesome. So once again, welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed the last session, the last mini lesson. And so basically during that lesson, we learned about some really cool greetings related to just like good morning, good evening, things of that nature. We also learned about some really cool house vocabulary that you could use immediately. So, these words included like house, room, keys, and doors, things of that nature. And to top everything off, we learned about basic grammar structures, like the AY des thing, which included the copulas and everything. We learned a few things about the particles, and there was also a mini assignment that required you to log into TuneIn Radio and listen to a Japanese radio station, or you could visit Crunchyroll. So those were just some of the things that you were, uh, I guess, well, maybe probably felt a bit compelled to do. So very awesome. Great. And so we essentially have the overview for today, which is the expressions. And so there will be 10 expressions, which will be really common. It will be divided into two parts. So the first part will be like for like basic phrases, and the second part will consist of questions. Um, Needless to say, they've been mixed. So it's going to be really exciting. And once again, I hope that you'll definitely like it. We have for the vocabulary segment weather today. So we're going to learn about weather and some nature words, such as mountain, uh, sunny and fine, forest, and a few others. So it's going to be great. Last but not least, we're going to learn about some adjectives today as a part of the grammar program, well, grammar segment. The types of adjectives as well as how to conjugate those adjectives. Last but not least, we're also going to have like an adjective list. So it's just going to be a really short list that comprises of these different. Well, it's going to comprise these two different types, well, these main types of adjectives. I just gave it away. And we're going to have the mini assignment for today. So once again, it's always optional. You don't have to do it, but I think that would be great, a really good way to get you moving forward to the next level with regards to the language. So very well. And great, let's see if we can get started today. Hajimemashou. All right, let's get started with lesson 3. So, of course, once again, we have the expressions, simple phrases, and FAQ. So we're going to go through the list here. And number 1 is please. All right, so we have please here. So how to say please is just onegai shimasu. Onegai shimasu. Yep, and so it's a very commonly used phrase in many situations. Very common. You might actually remember this phrase as being used during the introduction. Yes, to yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And so it basically means please be kind to me. Yes. So yoroshi means like good or nice, and then onegai shimasu. Yep. So it would basically mean please kindly. Yep, kindly please. And so that's it in a nutshell. So that was number 1, please, onegai shimasu. Number 2 is excuse me, and that is sumimasen. So sumimasen is number 2, excuse me. Number 3 is thank you. So thank you is arigatou gozaimasu. You might have already guessed that. Pretty cool. It's one of the most commonly recognized words in Japanese, of course. So yeah. So I'm sure that you've probably, well, chances are that you've gotten that correct. So very good, gotten that correctly. Number 4 is yes. Well, this has been split into yes and no. So yes is, of course, hai or for casual situations, and no. So no is iye, and it can also be iya in casual situations. Not sure if you watch a lot of horror films in Japanese, but this would definitely be the most common way to say no in a horror movie. Yeah, yeah, things like that. So very well. Great. And so for number 5, we have how are you? So this is where we start to get into a few questions. How are you is basically ogenki desu ka? Ogenki desu ka? And this is number 5 once again. So ogenki desu ka? Ogenki desu ka? Excuse me, sorry about that. And we usually just use this phrase when we are meeting someone. This is after we meet someone, and if we are really used to that person. So that would be, a really good way to, you know, essentially ask a person how they're doing. Uh, for after the first encounter. So we would say, "Ogenki desu ka?" Number 6 is what is your name? So what is your name is Anata no namae wa nan desu ka? Anata no namae wa nan desu ka? Anata no namae wa nan desu ka? Yep, so there you go. The reason why I essentially pronounced it 3 times is because many of my students tend to have problems with it. So if you are one of those people, then no problem. Please feel free to rewind number 6. Yep, what is your name? And yeah, pretty well. And so we have number 7. So number 7 is what do you do? In other words, what is your occupation? What is your profession? What do you do for a living? And so to ask that question, we would just say, O shigoto wa nan desu ka? O shigoto wa nan desu ka? O shigoto wa nan desu ka? All right, and so we have the word for work, which is shigoto. And we also have, let me see if we can go back to number 6. So for number 6, we have anata. Anata is you, and namae is name. All right, so we have nan desu ka. So nan desu ka is what is. What is or what are, you know. And so those are essentially it there. So we have o, going back to number 7, oshigoto wa nan desu ka? So o is known as the honorific prefix, so it basically means your in a really nice way. So oshigoto would be your job. So your job, wa, of course, as we learned, which was the topic particle, nan desu ka? So what is? Yes, so there you go. And so we have number 8, where are you from? So number 8 is Go shushin wa dochira desu ka? Go shushin wa dochira desu ka? Sorry about that. Go shushin wa dochira desu ka? All right, and so go is another honorific prefix. It's a bit more polite than o, so yes, that's definitely noteworthy. We have shushin. Shushin refers to the origin of a particular person. Yep, so like your original place, your place of origin, birthplace, probably. And then we have dochira desu ka? So dochira is just a polite way of saying doko. Doko means where, and so dochira is just a polite way of saying doko. And so yeah, this takes us back to lesson 1, of course, where we learned a bit more about like the politeness levels in Japanese, and so this is what I was referring to. And so we have number 9, how old are you? So how old are you is nansai desu ka? Nansai desu ka? And so we have nan, which means what, and then sai is the counter for ages. Yep, so that's definitely something to take note of in this course. So we have sai, which is known as a counter. Yep. All right. And so we have I don't understand. So I don't understand means is wakarimasen. Wakarimasen. So whenever you don't understand something by a Japanese person, feel free to use this phrase, wakarimasen. There you go. Or if you're one of your friends is talking in English or whatever, and they're saying something stupid, you could say "wakarimasen." This works for me on many occasions, so hopefully it'll work for you, help you out as well. And so let's see if we can go to the vocab here. So the vocabulary, it basically centers on weather and nature. So the word for weather is tenki. So that's number 1. So number 1 is weather. Weather is tenki. Number 2 is sunny or fine. So number 2 is hare. Yep, hare or hareteimasu. More to come on that later, hopefully. Number 3 is cloudy or komori. Number 4 is hot or atsui. Number 5 is forest or mori. Number 6 is cold or samui. There we go. Number 7 is river or kawa. Very popular name there. Yep, Kawasaki. And then we have number 8, cool. So cool is suzushi. So of course, yep. So once again, we have cold, samui, And then cool, suzushi. There you go. Number 9 is mountain. So mountain is yama. And then number 10 is warm or tatakai. So there we go. So great. So once again, please feel free to, just take a quick review through this list. Really cool stuff here, and I'm pretty sure that you will definitely, like that. So very good. Great. And so now we have the adjectives here. So we're going to go over the grammar today. Really short, really going to run through them. So basically there are two types of adjectives. There are the e-adjectives and the not-adjectives. And so basically they are conjugated a bit differently from each other. The e-adjectives are treated as adjectives, and the not-adjectives are treated as nouns. So it's definitely something to take note of there. And so for the conjugations, we have the present affirmative. So the present affirmative is basically like when something is something in that sense. And so, um, yep. So there we go. So for the present affirmative, we just keep them as is. Let's see if we can mention the adjectives first. So we have an adjective here, small. So the adjective small is chisai. So that is an e adjective because it ends with an e. And so basically with that, so to conjugate that, we would say samui des, like present affirmative, and then we would have for the present negative, it would be samukunai, samukunai desu. There we go. For past affirmative, it would be samukata. Oh, I'm sorry. Small. I'm sorry. Small is chisai, so it would be chisai desu. And then the present negative would be chisakunai desu. And then past affirmative would be chisakatta desu. And then present negative would be chisakunakatta desu. More to come on this really soon, hopefully. So, yep, not to worry. And so that is essentially how it would work for the e adjectives. So, but for the na adjectives, we'll use the next adjective that we have here, lively. So the word lively is nigiyakana, nigiyakana. And to conjugate that in the present affirmative form, we would just say nigiyaka desu. For the present negative, we would say nigiyaka jarimasen. For the past affirmative, we would use nigiyaka deshita. And then for present negative, we would use, for the past negative, we would use nigiyaka jarimasen deshita. So there we go. All right, so very good there. And then we have number 3, large, which is oki. Number 4 is quiet, shizukana. Number 5 is tall, takai. Number 6 is loud, urusai. And number 7 is famous. So I'm going to go over this in a bit more detail in another video, so don't worry, please. And so that essentially concludes the session, the mini lesson for today. We have a mini assignment, which is to please create 3 sentences using the sentence structure formula, which was A wa B des. Combining that with the adjectives for today and some of the words that we've learned. We've learned quite a few words so far, and so some of the words centered on weather, nature, and around the house, in addition to basic words. And so that's essentially it here. Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu. For listening, and yep, until next time, we'll go to lesson 4. はい、ありがとうございました。また次回。